Alrighty, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we've all been enjoying the Olympics. I know we've got the men's half pipe going on in the other room. I had to tear myself away from it. It's getting pretty heated. Anyhow, welcome to AP Night. This is the informational session for AP Capstone. My name is Spencer Wolf, and I am the program lead for the AP Capstone program. So I'll go ahead and I'll share some slides I've presented or prepared, walk through some of the logistics of what Capstone entails, and really talk about the guiding philosophy behind the program, what it's meant to accomplish, some of the excellent things the kids do in the program, and with whatever time we have left, hopefully have a chance to answer a few questions. So again, this is the AP Capstone informational session. One thing I want to stress about what AP Capstone is and how it's potentially different from some of the other AP classes that students might take is that its core curriculum really is critical thinking rather than anything that can be assessed directly on a multiple choice test. So in AP Capstone, there are no multiple choice tests. Instead, it's a measure of students' ability to ask meaningful questions, evaluate arguments, synthesize their responses to arguments, and do meaningful work of the sort that they'll actually do when they're in college. Another thing that comes up a lot when students are asking me for information about Capstone is what exactly is it? Is it English? Is it social science? What discipline does it fall under? And the answer is both all of those and none of those. By that, I mean its root and mission statement is a chance to develop college readiness while investigating personally relevant topics and to give students a chance to develop their problem-solving skills. So the way it works is Capstone is 2 courses that College Board came up with a couple years ago. These are 2 courses that students would take on top of their existing AP coursework, and they do need to be taken sequentially. So AP Seminar is the first of the 2 Capstone courses. AP Research is the second. The way these 2 courses are related and linked together is that AP Seminar is like what you might in college encounter, early on in your college career, where it is designed around investigating real-world issues, learning how to access credible sources and academic databases, learning how to evaluate arguments, learning how to put all those together, and then write and present rather than just answer things in multiple choice format. AP Research is like a mini dissertation. So students actually have the chance to create new knowledge and to study things in a way that very few other programs allow them to do. So those are the 2 core courses. And the way Capstone works, in the first year of the program, students will take the AP Seminar course. And what you can see underneath that box that says AP Seminar, those are the assessment components. So the student's AP score is actually based off of a team project and presentation, and that comprises both a written paper as well as a team presentation. Then an individual research-based essay where they pose their own research questions, investigate them, come up with some argument based off of the sources they find, and put together an individual presentation. And then for seminar, there's an end of course exam. And that end of course exam is really one last chance to showcase the skills that students have developed. So it's an argument analysis as well as an argument essay. So again, no multiple choice, but much more meant to measure how students think. AP Research is both simpler and more involved. It's simpler in that the way students are scored for research is they write 1 paper throughout the course of the entire year. The paper is pretty hefty. It's broken up into 5 different sections, and that includes, surveying the existing literature on some topic that they find relevant, finding a question that hasn't been answered yet, devising a research method to answer that question, gathering the data, evaluating their own data, building an argument, and then self-evaluating. So that's where a lot of our research students are right now, and they're doing some really interesting things if there's time, I'll walk you through examples of some of the work that students produce. Now, if students take seminar and research and earn a 3 or higher on those 2 courses, then they're awarded what we call the Capstone Certificate, and that's a nice indication of college readiness. And one of the things we're shooting for at Granada, though, is for students to take seminar as well as research and earn a 3 or higher on any other 4 capstone or AP classes. What that does.
Sorry about that, everybody. Hopefully he'll be back in just a second. So just give us a moment, okay? Thank you.
I am so sorry about that. Looks like my internet off a little bit. What I'm going to do is post a link to these slides in the chat here. I'll record the next section, and that will also be posted on the school website, so you'll have a chance to review it. My internet connection. But I was just going through the basics of the capstone diploma pathways. So the 2 capstone courses earn students the Capstone Certificate. Those plus any of the other 4 AP exams earn students the full diploma. And I'm not sure at which point my internet connection cut out, but I was talking about the benefits of the Capstone Diploma for college acceptances and college readiness. One of the things that indicates to colleges is if students go through these 2 pathways and can talk about the work they've done, it's proof that they're going to thrive in college. So a lot of colleges view that very well, and it does have a positive impact on applications. So the way this works, when the program was first, okay, I'll change the permission. When the program was first being designed, College Board noted a trend where a lot of students were showing up to college looking very good on paper, having high test scores, high grades, and things of that nature. But they wanted to see more ability to collaborate, more ability to actually write meaningful arguments and not just, exams, more ability to present. A lot of stuff that hadn't been traditionally focused on. So actually, I'm going to address this question that I just saw in the chat. Unfortunately, for AP Seminar, they cannot take the exam without taking the class. And the reason for that is the exam is the course. So when we look at how they're put together, for AP Seminar, the fall semester is introduction to some of these skills, learning the basics of academic research, learning the basics of how to access academic databases. In the spring semester, that's when the assessments happen. So students aren't assessed on how they do on one exam in one day in May. Instead, they've got, for seminar, basically an entire semester to do their best work. And for research, it's an entire year. Part of the seminar curriculum is that students do need to work together with other students who are enrolled in the AP Seminar class, and there's a team project and presentation. So that's not the sort of thing that can happen if students are doing this independently. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of my presentation. First year I taught seminar, I was such a huge advocate for it that I reached out to College Board and said I wanted to be involved in how it's rolled out nationwide. So I've been training seminar teachers for the past 6 years now, all over the country. They've even sent me internationally a few times. Of all of the teachers I've trained, I don't know of a single one who's been able to successfully do independent study. So this question here, AP and IB are different programs in high school, both still give college credit and both are still valued on college applications. Yes, I'm actually friends with Sean Lewis, who's the IB coordinator. He and I share a lot of resources in terms of getting kids into college and share a lot of the feedback we've gotten from colleges. So on paper, an honors level IB course and an AP course receive the same GPA boost. They're awarded the same way. In terms of how colleges decide to award course credit, it's dependent on the college, it's dependent on the course, it's dependent on the exam score that students earn. But they're both viewed the same way in terms of awarding that. In terms of which one benefits students, it's really which one is a better fit for students. You know, there's ticking boxes and they're saying, I did IB or I did AP Capstone. And both colleges look at both of those roughly the same. Really what they're looking for when students mention being part of these programs is for students to describe the things they've learned and the things that that they produced as part of it. So certain AP exams, Ms. Woodburn is correct, can be taken without the class, but the seminar class has got a collaborative component. They need to be assigned into teams. So it's a 2-year program. If you look at the slide I've got up, seminar is the first year, and then research is the second year. It's basically these two courses that make up Capstone. In these sessions, a lot of parents and students want to know the difference between Capstone and IB. One of them is the degree of, I shouldn't say the degree, but the flexibility. Since Capstone is these two courses, students don't have to leave existing academic programs a part of, like STEM or GBF or things like that. Currently, Capstone seminar do not replace any AP classes. Yeah, and that's a benefit to students as well, because by having that strength of schedule, by having this extra class, it shows you pursue the strongest possible schedule. Potentially, that depends on kind of your specific needs. Some students do. Many of our students right now are on a traditional 6-period schedule. It really depends on your specific needs and other classes you've taken. What I would say is if that's a concern, but you're still interested and you like the curriculum, I'm going to drop a link to the interest form in the chat in just a second. Still fill out the form. There's ways we can work with you kind of on an individual basis to see what your needs are. Going back to the slides here. So part of the reason why you're not really able to do seminar independently is if you look at all of these things, these happen throughout the course of the school year in class, collaboratively with other students. You know, 3/4 of the class is the exam. It's not just one that you do in May. If you look at that, basically all of the second semester is giving you a chance to work with your peers, to work with your teacher, to put forth your best research-based product. As an example of some of the types of things that students do, so some of these stimulus materials are provided by College Board, and you can see within a class, within a unit, you might be looking at stuff that's scientific in nature, looking at, you know, possible explorations of extrasensory perception. You might be looking at 3D pavement art installations to look at ways in which people have played with this idea of perception. You might look at something literary. You might look at something that's, you know, a hard science paper. You might look at some social science. You might look at some history. And seminar trains you how to make sense of all of these things when viewed collectively together. So it's a lot of interesting kind of ideas-based curriculum. It's possible for teachers to teach an entirely new curriculum every single year. So it's less about memorization, less about putting things in your short-term memory and then writing it down, and more about just giving you a chance to explore things that you find interesting, things that you find meaningful. And then in the research class, you can see these are some of the projects that students have conducted. So this student was a Syrian immigrant herself, and she conducted this really interesting ethnographic series of interviews where she interviewed people who have migrated as a result of the Syrian civil war to see what life has been like for them in California, and was able to earn academic credit for doing this and some college credit. We've got people looking at kind of social science, psychological phenomenon, like gaps between behaviors and morals. We've had people exploring things like lucid dream therapy. All of these happening within the same classroom. So this is just to show that one of the things that makes Capstone so valuable and so enriching is if you come in with definite interests and things you want to explore, this is your chance to do it. And that's because the curriculum is really these 5 basic skills taught over and over and over again. Teaching to ask effective questions, to understand and analyze arguments, to evaluate different perspectives on any given topic, to synthesize ideas, and then to present in a way that's not just tests, but is actually meaningful. Presentations, informal presentations, writing, elevator pitches, things that you'll actually have to do outside of high school. What I'm going to do now, since I promised, I have got the interest form that I'll share. I'll put this in the chat. This will also be on the school website soon. I'm also going to share this with current 10th grade English teachers. And let me go back to the chat here and just see what questions I haven't been answered yet. So it's a 2-year program, correct? No, it doesn't replace any. So Sophia, seminar and research are not considered English classes, at least at Granada, not at the moment. Research isn't considered an English class because it can be anything. I've got students doing science projects, social science projects, art projects, film studies. It's a chance to explore a topic within any discipline that you find interesting. One thing we're finding out about that with the research course is a lot of universities will award kind of general academic credit for it. So they'll award units because it can be so many different things. And then when students are on campus, they take this project that they've done and find the appropriate department. So find the psychology department, or find the economics department, or find the business and finance department, or whatever. Show them what you've done, and then students can then talk their way into course credit. We've got a lot of examples of students doing that. We're also finding Capstone students in college jumping to the front of the line for paid research opportunities, for paid internships, and things of that nature. The other reason we have students do seminar as an elective is to guarantee that strength of schedule when you're applying for colleges. Because it's an academic elective, you do this concurrent with AP English Language, and it gives you that extra strong class. I will note, I didn't put these statistics up on the slide. In any given year, we have between 95 and 100% of our students earn a qualifying score on these exams. There have been plenty of years where every student gets a 3 or higher on research. Same thing for seminar. And because of that, we find that the grades kind of correlate with that too. Students do well in this because there's a lot of opportunities to do things that you do find interesting.
Mr. Wolf, this session
Yes.
is over at 6:51.
Okay, let me just look through the chat here, see if there are any other questions. So I tweaked the form a little bit in terms of interest. While Capstone traditionally at Granada has been run in 11th and 12th grade, if you're a current 9th grader, go ahead and indicate your interest because that's useful for me. Yes, these classes are considered electives. One of the things I was mentioning is Capstone's interdisciplinary. In terms of whether Capstone's as impressive as IB for college applications, it's not that one's more impressive than the other. I feel like that's a point I addressed earlier. It's a box you check on your applications, and then when students can speak to the work that they've done in these programs, that's when we see the strongest boost. And that's true for both Capstone and IB. So research and seminar don't count towards the diploma. It would have to be any other 4 AP classes. On the form, there should be a space for 9th graders to indicate interest. That's useful for me. That way I can reach out to you and talk about future plans. I saw somebody raise their hand, and I have a lot of people here, so I can't see who that was. Can I please complete my thought on 9th grade students? So College Board offers the opportunity to run seminar in 10th grade. We don't do that at Granada, but if there's sufficient interest at some point, we might maybe consider that, which is part of the reason why I'm asking if students are in 9th grade going into 10th and considering it, go ahead and indicate your interest, please, because that's useful information for me. Just so we know, what are the numbers of 9th grade students who might be interested and willing. So that interest form is to indicate interest. You're not committing to anything when you fill it out. In general, in terms of your classes, absolutely, you should talk with your counselors. I have got a lot of information about Capstone, in addition to having taught it for 6 years now and training teachers internationally. Last year, I recently completed a doctorate, and the subject of my dissertation was AP Capstone. So if you want more questions, or if you have more questions about the program, feel free to email me in case you need it. My email is there in the chat. Yes, absolutely, talk to your counselors. If you're at all interested, you can go ahead. That form is just an interest form. So don't feel afraid to fill it out. Thank you. You as well.